What's up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, for being subscribed if you are. If you aren't, go ahead and hit that button and hit that like button while you're at it. If you are listening to this on YouTube, it's like walking into the room and hitting that light switch. Let's just go ahead and brighten up the place. All right, let's have this little chit chat on politics and BS. I haven't done one of these in a while, but as most of us already know, the former president, 45, was indicted, and he's been indicted on several charges, and a lot of them has to do with him taking classified information, and not just taking it, because I don't think a lot of people have been hearing this. It's not just the fact that he took it, it's the fact that they actually had been asking him to return the documents for over a year. And for most people who just know how he is, he just feels like he's always right about everything. He doesn't care about what anyone really has to say. But I'm not here to talk about the case per se. What I wanted to discuss is the fact that, listen, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I'm not on either side. They all have their flaws, and they all can be like a broken clock. They can be right at least 2 times a day, right? I'm not on either side because I just feel that we live in this day and age where the majority of these people who are in service of being a senator, or they're in the House of Representatives, they are a president, they're on the Supreme Court, they are sitting on federal judges' benches across the country, or even if they're serving locally. I'm not saying each and every single one of them, but for the most part, these people are not really here to represent the will of the majority of the people anymore. They're there to represent what is in their own personal best interest. So that's why I don't get into arguments and fights with people about politics. I just don't have the time to do it, right? Because these people who are diehard supporters of any individual person, you're screwed, period. So with that being said, what I wanted to speak to is the fact of the matter. This shouldn't really be a huge surprise because being a government employee, which he was, when you are the president of the United States, you're like one of the most highest government employees. But when you are a government employee, most government employees have to go through some sort of clearance background check, right? And the higher the position, the more intense your background search is intensified. So if you have to have a secret clearance, top secret clearance, all the other different types of clearance levels that there are, a lot of people get disqualified, or they don't get the opportunities to fill positions in those higher ranking positions due to the fact of the matter that their backgrounds and their credits can eliminate them from being a candidate, because when it comes to these clearance levels, they check so much, and they don't just check that personal individual person's credit, they check the family member's credit. The former president has terrible credit. Period. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care if you are the most staunch Trump supporter. He had terrible credit. He had filed bankruptcy on a number of occasions. A lot of times that will, in regular life, will disqualify an individual from holding an office where they have to get a top secret clearance. The fact that he has so many questionable things about his credit, his finances, who he's attached to, who he's involved with, it really should have disqualified him from having that job, period. Because a lot of regular people would have never gotten the opportunity to hold that position just based on their credit and not being able to pass the background check to get that type of clearance level. So when these companies are doing these background checks and they're disqualifying people, they don't qualify for the clearance level to hold that position, even though they may be capable of doing the job. They're not qualified, and they're disqualified based on the security level that they have to be able to hold, because the point of the matter is they're making sure that you will not be a target for outside forces, enemies of the state, enemies of our country, who can bribe you and offer you things to sell secrets to them because you need the money or you want the money. And we have seen that he is definitely one of those people that wants the money. So for him to have held security clearances and been able to pass them out like candy to his family members, because pretty much all of them got them once he got in office, these people didn't qualify to have security clearance levels either. So now that we're at this place in time where he has been indicted because of him withholding all of these top secret files that they knew he had, and they even gave him over a year to return the items, and he still refused to return them. It's like, well, what did you expect? So now it's being spun, the whole political machine. Oh, the current president is just doing this as blackmail, or he's just trying to stop him because he's going to be running for president too again or whatever. And I'm just so over it. So when I heard that he was indicted, I wasn't surprised, but then I was also like, oh Lord, here we go. We're going to be going through all of these motions with hearing these people who are only backing him. They really don't like him, but they're only backing him because they have an interest in backing him, because they don't want to piss off his supporters. They need the votes. They want to keep serving. They want to keep getting that check. They want to keep getting the preferential treatment that they get by being in the office that they're in. So it's all to cover their own asses. And I'm just so over it. So as soon as I heard it, I was like, okay, we're going to start seeing the tweets and the statements from the people who really don't like him and really don't support him. But they're going to say that they do for the sake of not seeing themselves as traitors or turning against him. So they want to hold out to the end. I really feel like they're just holding out until this man passes away, whether it's by natural causes or him getting sick or something. I don't know. But I'm just saying they're all just kind of holding their breaths and wanting to continue to look like they're supporting him when behind closed doors, when they're not in public. They really don't, but they feel like they're being held hostage. You know, it's just extremely exhausting. So when I heard about it, I was just like, oh God, here we go. But I just thought about it, and I just wanted to have a conversation to discuss the whole importance of the reason why the government goes through these things for these background checks and the security clearances and, you know, looking at the tax returns and all of that stuff. You've seen all of the previous presidents up until him, their tax returns were released. We all had that information. It took forever and a day to get his information released. It was always excuses about, well, I'm going through an audit. You know, it's just always something as to why you can't just be transparent and share this information. But it's always a witch hunt. Everyone's against you, all of this other stuff. And it's just so extremely exhausting and tiring. But I just wanted to talk about it from the perspective of the documents, the security clearances, why the government does that. And this is a clear example, in my personal opinion, just being beautifully honest, as to why anyone like him, not just him, but anyone like him would be a terrible person to be put in that position, because you are essentially the leader of the free world and you have so much to lose, where you can be bought and sold, or pretty much you will, let them buy you, and you will sell us off for the sake of covering your own ass, for the sake of covering what is near and dear to you. And that's the reason why the government does this secret security clearances and all of those different things and all of the extensive background checks. I know, because I just I know. Okay. And there have been things where it's just like you could have one past due payment on your credit report, and you're being given the riot act about that. So I'm just saying, when I see this is what I think about. And it just reminds me as to why the government does it. And I understand it when it comes to people who have higher levels of responsibilities and higher level positions that they are seeking to fill, as to why they go through the lengths of doing these background checks on people and going through the lengths of getting them to the point where they can pass the security clearance. And if they can't hold the position because they can't take that chance. But they allowed it to happen with the person who's supposed to be the president of the United States. And that is something that is extremely dangerous. But, for people who just support him because they love him, they love Trump, they love 45 and all this other stuff, they don't see all of these things. You can't really speak reason to people who are not going to sit down and listen. So I don't even bother. You believe what you want to believe. But that in itself is why I wanted to discuss this. I wasn't here to report that it happened because most people know that it has happened. I'm not here to say that I hope this happens or that happens. I just want peace in my own life, and that's why I try my best to stay out of that stuff. But when it comes to the government and the way it works, there is supposed to be a method to the madness, but for the sake of the person who filled that position previously, they allowed that to be overlooked. And this is where we are. We've gone through so much since this person has been in office, and it just seems like the gnat that just keeps buzzing in your ear that just will not go away. And I'm over it. I'm so tired of all of this bull crap. So I just wanted to talk about this because when I saw a quick video clip of all of the documents that were retrieved, it's like, what were you doing with all of this stuff? Why did you have all of this stuff? There has to be a reason. And I'm afraid to know what the real reasons are. Not the reasons that you're telling people, but what were the real reasons? Who had access to the information? Who else saw it? And I'm sorry, anybody that loves Kim Jong-un, that freaking crazy nut job that just recently imprisoned a family, including a 2-year-old baby, in a prison camp for life because they found a Bible in their residence. I'm sorry. I don't want to have anything to do with. It is absolutely insane. And so I'm just really disgusted by so many things that I see. That's why I don't really talk about politics too much, but I'm not crazy. They can say all they want to say about the woke and wokeness and all that other stuff. I would rather be woke or awake, because the opposite of that is being asleep. And if you're asleep and you don't see what's really going on, then I feel sorry for you. I may not be involved in it, but I'm definitely not going to be asleep. I don't call myself woke, but I definitely am not going to be asleep. And I see what's going on, and it sickens me. It really does. It gets me heated. So that's why I don't talk about it too much, because I try my best to stay in my little peace and Zen spaces as much as I possibly can, even though we live in a world of chaos and treacherousness and turmoil and all kinds of goofy crap that just goes on, a lot. But at any rate, I wanted to talk about the reasons as to why the government does these things. And this is a clear example to a time where they just really let this slip, and it never should have happened, period. I don't care how much people got enthralled with the celebrity and it just like how he just tells it like it is or whatever. It never should have gotten to this point. And because people allowed it to get to this point, this is one of the reasons why we are where we are right now. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to talk about that. If you want to leave a comment, you can do so respectfully in the comment section below. I'm not going back and forth with anybody. I'm sharing how I feel, and that's it. So thanks so much for being here. I'm Beth. I'm just being beautifully honest. So until the next time, I just wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.